Boy, he is, and he is right up against that wall, but he made the pass. Oh, trouble.
Hard, the wall goes William Byron.
Nose is in heavy.
Byron went in hard.
Oh. Matt Kenseth piled into Byron right to the 14 car right at the end there. 24 set down here on fire. 37, the 1. That was a huge wreck.
Chris Buescher involved.
You can see William moving around a little bit.
That's Ty Dillon.
There.
Byron on the bottom.
He just gets loose underneath.
He just starts spinning out, gets into the.
Oh, man, it just.
Oh my gosh, the car almost went over.
Just hooked, nosed in.
How many times have we seen a car land on top of Ryan Newman?
Ryan Newman? Yep.
I mean, that's 2 or 3 times I can remember.
Too many.
Remember, he was with McMurray down in Talladega when that happened.
With just a couple laps to go, Kevin Harvick, who was trying to make his way through the field, had to avoid this massive accident, collecting Ryan Newman and William Byron. Shockingly, this isn't the first time that a car has landed on top of Ryan Newman, and it sure wouldn't be the last. Ryan Newman has had a very dangerous career in NASCAR with some horrible accidents, but this is probably one of the worst crashes him and William Byron had ever had at 1.5 miles.
He's trouble. Contact on the backstretch. It's Mike Waltrip and now Brian Vickers. Robbie Gordon, 31. The time. Waltrip's over. 1, 2, 3 times for Michael Waltrip.
Well, there's the big one right there. Took a lot. There's a lot of good cars right there. Is that Sterling Marlin in there?
40 cars in it. That's Michael Waltrip's car, upside down.
Slides up right there. Just ever so little contact, which doesn't look like a lot when you're running 185, 190 miles per hour. It's a lot.
There's the 15. The mountain right now, he's going to dig in. There goes one of the tires that Alan talked about. Violent.
Very violent.
Yeah, when you hit that grass.
Hang on.
Now the 30 car, he comes up and just, it's like you said, Wally, another 6 inches. Probably would have not been an accident.
And it looks like the 30 to me got a little bit loose down there. He got a little bit loose. He corrected, but when he corrected, he slid up the racetrack. And unfortunately, there were 2 cars on the outside of him. See how close everything is in there? Very confined. Plus, you got the roof on you. The dash is all crushed on you.
The people in the back can see that and listen to the huge applause that Michael gets as he gets out and wave to the crowd.
It's a good sign.
Take the stretcher and put it back. We don't need it.
So not the kind of day Michael Waltrip hoped for, certainly, in this Daytona 500.
The 2004 Daytona 500 saw one of the most horrific crashes down the back straightaway NASCAR has seen in some time. The 2004 season was hyped up to be one of NASCAR's greatest season, and it started off with a bang and a very big crash on the backstretch. Michael Waltrip would go tumbling end over end, side over side in the backstretch grass, kicking up grass and dirt all over the place, making his car almost invisible and hard to see because of all the debris flying everywhere. Thankfully, Michael Waltrip was able to walk out of this accident unscathed. Continuing off of Michael Waltrip, he hired Clint Bowyer, who is a very wild human being. Clint Bowyer is nothing but excitement when he's on or even off the racetrack, and in 2014, he was pretty exciting when he did a barrel roll during the Daytona duels, landed on all 4 tires, and kept on going. That is peak Clint Bowyer fashion.
Menard had a fast car all day long, and here comes McMurray, and he just gets a little bit of piece of that 48. A lot like happened in the Unlimited. Looked like Jimmy's car just got loose and spun.
Look at Clint Bowyer in that 15 car get up in the air.
Thing went it did a 360. Unbelievable.
Did a barrel roll and came right back down on its wheels. And he'll cross the start-finish line because it goes all the way across the infield.
And out of control goes Kenseth.
Over on his roof.
Get back on the wheels.
Car gets out of shape and then just pirouettes on its left side and goes over.
And we talk about the bump drafting has to be done on the straightaway, and you can see even on the straightaway, if you get hit too hard, it just takes the steering wheel out of your hands as a driver.
This was the scary part right here when he's on his roof for so long. Looked for a minute like he might save it, but then got down there. Golly, this is tough.
Yeah, and Matt really did a great job. If he goes up in front, he takes out 15 or 18 cars, so he did a great job of not creating that situation.
This is by far one of the most forgotten barrel rolls in NASCAR history, in my opinion. This was in the NASCAR Nationwide Series race at Talladega when Matt Kenseth got turned sideways down the backstretch, and his car was going so fast as he came sliding down across the track that his car ended up doing barrel rolls all the way across the inside of the track, up the track into turn number 3, and came to a rest in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Thankfully, Matt Kenseth was okay after this horrific accident at Talladega, but this is probably one of the most scariest rides he's ever been a part of in NASCAR.
Oh, here comes a...
Jimmy Johnson just nowhere to go. The 43 car of Allmendinger just coming back up the racetrack right in front of him.
That is a huge hit.
So the caution apparently was for Conway into the wall.
Yeah, look at
Not sure why Allmendinger was so far down on the racetrack.
That's brutal right there, man. That is a hard lick.
The first race of the 2022 season was exciting. NASCAR was debuting a brand new race car at super speedways, the NASCAR NextGen car. This car was extremely unpredictable as nobody knew how it would drive and react in big accidents, and it was tested early in the beginning of stage 1 with only 3 laps to go. Harrison Burton would actually roll over on the backstretch and making contact with the roof of his race car on the asphalt. Harrison Burton was luckily able to walk away from this horrific accident, but Keselowski was the one to blame, and at that race that year, Keselowski called many accidents. There was also big hits in this wreck besides Harrison Burton, with William Byron and others. Thankfully, nobody was injured, but this is still one of the most iconic crashes of the next-gen era.
That was big. Got loose off the corner, had to get completely out of the gate. Oh, he's got right rear down. Huge wreck. So Austin as Chastain hit him, turns Chase Elliott around in a wall.
And totals Chase Elliott's car.
Car's lucky to not get upside down.
All right, we're going to ride with the Tootsie's Cam and Ross Chastain.
This is the most controversial all-star race, in my opinion, in the entire history of NASCAR. But regardless of that fact, at the beginning of the race, Kyle Busch had a tire go down while leading the race. He was slow on the front stretch and cars were trying to avoid him. Ross Chastain would be the one to avoid him as he would blow Kyle Busch in a late reaction to try avoid him. Kyle Busch was already at the bottom of the racetrack. They would make contact, and Chastain would go almost flying in the air at a 1.5 mile track at over 180 miles per hour. Chastain would then come back up across the track and hit Chase Elliott, and it was a horrendous accident in the beginning of the All-Star race.
I would want if I was a teammate, you know, with being door to door with my teammate Hamlin and Bell for this front.
Whoa! Against Bell into the wall.
Off of the front bumper,
Custer, and up in the air goes Ryan Preece, and for the second time in his career, he is flipping at Daytona. Good grief.
Off the front bumper, we were talking about a lap before.
Ryan Preece, a couple of years ago here, flipped down the backstretch after getting caught. Oh. Oh.
The 2025 Daytona 500 saw Ryan Preece once again flip down the backstretch at Daytona in a horrific fashion. Ryan Preece would be one of the first drivers in NASCAR history, though, to do a wheelie in a stock car. I've never seen a NASCAR driver do a wheelie, but it happened in the Great American Race, as Ryan Preece would end up on his roof coming across the racetrack and then land on all 4 wheels after this scary accident. Ryan Preece wasn't the only one to cause chaos in the Daytona 500 in 2025. Denny Hamlin, battling for the win, would get pushed into Austin Cindric, collecting almost everybody, causing a huge accident on the back straightaway to end the race as William Byron would take the checkered flag. Denny Hamlin was so close to winning his 4th Daytona 500 and making history in NASCAR once again. But ultimately for Hamlin, he would come up just a bit short after this horrific accident.
Caution light at the bottom of the screen.
You see Austin Cindric doing a great job driving in the mirror, doing his block. A quick move on the outside with Denny Hamlin.
Here comes the Ford to his inside. LaJoie, there'd be pushes on both sides. Custer goes to the outside.
And they crash. Hamlin gets turned into the wall.
Oh my gosh. Still green.
Trying to let the leaders race back. Here they come.
Still green. It's
off.
It could be a two-time winner here. William Byron.
Byron, Nemechek, Reddick. Off turn 4 and to the flag. Checker is waving, and William Byron has won the 500 for the 2nd year in a row.
Holy cow.
Holy cow, baby, let's go!
That's like back in your era, Jeff.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Almirola Bowman.
Oh, the 24's on his side. Remember what I said, Clint, about 21 cars? I don't know if we got there, but man, that took out a lot of race cars and a lot of great race cars in there.
I know Eric Almirola was one of the front ones up front, so anytime that happens up front, you're going to take out a lot of them. There's Jamie McMurray.
All these cars stuck in that mud. We've had
Newman.
heavy rain down here overnight.
Tyler Reddick. That is a dozen of destruction.
When we talk about being aggressive, bump drafting, switching lanes here early on, only 14 laps into this 200-lap race.
Oh, Eric Almirola, who won his dual race, thought he had a great shot for the 500. All torn up. Christopher Bell, new to the Joe Gibbs Toyota team in the 20.
You can see the outside, 48, Alex Bowman doing a little side drafting to the right side of Eric Almirola.
And I see a gap in between Eric and the 20 car.
And look at the push coming from Kyle Busch to his teammate, Christopher Bell. Now that's going to get him to the rear bumper.
Big shot.
Oh, he just got over on that right side.
I can tell you another part of that equation, Jeff. These cars, they have skew in the rear ends. That's obviously for speed and make the cars go fast, make them pull up to other cars. It's also, in my experience, makes them squirrely. When that car hits him, it pushes that car into the steer of the rear end, and it can turn you in a heartbeat.
Or so reminiscent when Eric Almirola lost the lead in the closing yards of this race in 2018.
He was along for the ride. As soon as that contact hit, it just turned his car right. He took the words right out of my mouth. Unbelievable. Crushing blow to so many teams, so many efforts that it goes into having fast cars and being at this Daytona 500. That was a lot of heavy hitters in this one.
We're going to ride with Ryan Newman through this.
Well, look at that 24 car go up on the side on 2 wheels.
Smashed just as badly as he got with his primary car
that's
Thursday
his
night.
backup car.
At least a dozen cars involved. Oh, David Reagan torn up as well.
Ryan Newman and Daytona just doesn't mix. In 2003, Ryan Newman would get turned entering the trioval and sit his car into the grass. What would happen next is one of the most iconic barrel rolls of all time. This footage would be played for decades to come, as it was one of the most wildest crashes at Daytona we've seen in the Gen 4 car when NASCAR was at its peak. Ryan Newman would flip down the front stretch and barrel roll so hard that the whole axle would come out of the bottom of his race car and he would end up on his roof. Luckily, Newman was able to get out of his race car unscathed after this traumatic accident. But this actually wasn't the only time Ryan Newman would have a massive accident at Daytona. And I'm talking about the 2020 Daytona 500. Coming off of turn number 4, Ryan Newman was looking to win the Great American Race for the second time. It was until his bumper would misalign with Ryan Blaney, the 12 car's front bumper, and he would go into the outside wall, flipping his car over. Corey LaJoie would impact him driver's side first and send Newman to the hospital. Thankfully, Newman was able to walk out of that hospital 2 days later, but it was by far one of the most scariest accidents I've ever seen at Daytona.
Oh, Kyle Busch slides and does the 78. They both go up into the wall through turn 1. Caution comes out.
Lock her down.
Who's going to try to make it 3 wide?
Oh, Berry's gone, and he goes up and over. Huge hit for Josh Berry. Eric Jones is involved. There's Austin Cindric. That was wild.
William Byron trying to get his way back as the AMR safety team are swiftly on the spot to aid Josh Berry on what had been an incredible night for the Stewart Haas driver up until the second to last lap.
Contact. The two was getting pushed, and as soon as that car was pushing him, got turned around and went. This is what scared me, because Josh is hanging on his belts. He's not in his seat. He's hanging on his belts and has that frontal impact.
Everything that went right for the 34 to set his car back on the wheels didn't go right for Josh Berry. And I'm with you, Jeff. The flip is the first concern, but then the hit into the wall when gravity is pulling you out of the seat is just different.
With his playoff hopes on the line and a last-chance ditch effort to make the playoffs, Josh Berry was doing everything in his power to win the race and advance into the playoffs. Unfortunately for Josh Berry, he would end up upside down, hard into the inside wall, and creating a massive accident.
As the laps wind down in the Daytona 500 and 6 cars running a single file draft in the lead, there's another group of about a dozen who are all side by side from position 7 back to about 19th and 20th, all really fiercely racing for position. Unfortunately for them, they're about 2/3 behind.
On the back straightaway, Dale Earnhardt is into the wall. Looked as though he was tapped by Dale Jarrett coming off the corner, racing side by side. Earnhardt hit the outside wall hard and rolled down the back straightaway.
Right now, the safety crews are on the scene. Dale just dropped the window net as now an army of rescue vehicles, the ambulance, also safety crews converge on his black Chevrolet.
And we'll keep you posted there as we get any more developments on Dale Earnhardt. Right now, let's go to pit road.
Well, Dale Jarrett is here on pit road. Larry McReynolds just looked over at us and said that Dale had talked with him, so he seems to be okay. They still haven't gotten him out of the race car. A lot of damage to the left front of Dale Jarrett's car, some damage to the right side. Ernie Irvin is down in his pit, minus his hood in front of Eli Gold.
Crew trying to make sure they can get back and finish this event. That's the bottom line here as they work towards the final 10 laps of the 500.
Looked like, because we have the benefit of a video replay, Earnhardt's car just hit the wall off of turn number 2. The car just went high on him and hit the wall and came back across the racetrack into Dale Jarrett and Ernie Irvin's machine. Then after he caught the wall, he came off the wall, made the contact with Irvin and Jarrett, then went back into the wall.